सवेरा
ओम शांति दीदी, गुड मॉर्निंग।
ओम शांति जी, गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग।
आज के दिन की बाबा की साकार मुरली की भी मुबारक हो। और आज विशेष हमारे गेस्ट है बलवंत भाई जी, who is one of the trustees of ब्रह्मा कुमारीज in London। वो फिलहाल मधुबन में है, तो वहाँ की आंखों देखा हाल भी हमसे शेयर करेंगे और दादी जानकी जी के साथ अपना अनुभव भी शेयर करेंगे। तो वो हम सबसे जुड़ने से पहले हम सब आज की बाबा की साकार महावाक्य सुनते हैं। आज बाबा ने कहा कि सभी को सुख का रास्ता बता दो। रास्ता बताने वाला पंडा जीवन में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है। लोग गुरु करने के लिए ढूंढते हैं कि यथार्थ ऐसा गुरु मुझे मिल जाए कि मुझे मार्गदर्शन मिले, परमात्मा का कैवल्य अर्थात वैकुंठ अर्थात वो पद हमें नसीब हो जो उसकी रचना है, अर्थात हेवन, बहिष्ठ, पैराडाइज। तो बाबा कहते सबको सुख का रास्ता बताते चलो, किसी को भी दुख नहीं दो। 30 मार्च 2021 बाप दादा के साकार महावाक्य है। मीठे बच्चे, तुम्हें श्रीमत पर तत्वों सहित सारी दुनिया को पावन बनाने की सेवा करनी है। सबको सुख और शांति का रास्ता बताना है। मीठे बच्चे, तुम्हें तत्वों सहित श्रीमत पर तत्वों सहित सारी दुनिया को पावन बनाने की सेवा करनी है। सबको सुख और शांति का रास्ता बताना है। प्रश्न है, तुम बच्चे अपनी देह को भी भूलने का पुरुषार्थ करते हो, इसलिए तुम्हें किस चीज की दरकार नहीं। तुम बच्चे अपनी देह को भी भूलने का पुरुषार्थ करते हो, इसलिए तुम्हें किस चीज की दरकार नहीं। उत्तर, किस चीज की दरकार नहीं है हमें? क्या लगता है? हमें इन चीजों की जरूरत नहीं है जो दुनिया बहुत जरूरत समझती है। कौन सी वो चीज है? बाबा कहते चित्रों की दरकार नहीं। जब यह चित्र ही भूलना है तो उन चित्रों की क्या दरकार है? कौन सा चित्र भूलना है? हमारा ये देह रूपी चित्र भूलना है तो और कोई चित्रों की दरकार ही नहीं। स्वयं को आत्मा समझ विदेही बाप को और स्वीट होम को याद करो। यह चित्र तो है छोटे बच्चों के लिए, अर्थात नइयों के लिए। तुम्हें तो याद में रहना है और सबको याद कराना है। धंधा आदि करते सतो प्रदान बनने के लिए याद में ही रहने का अभ्यास करो। गीत है, तकदीर जगाकर आई हूँ, एक नई दुनिया बसाकर आई हूँ। ओम शांति। मीठे मीठे बच्चों ने यह अक्षर सुने हैं और फौरन खुशी में रोमांच खड़े हो गए। रोमांच खड़े हो गए। सुन रहे हैं सभी?
हाँ जी दीदी।
तकदीर की बातें सुनते ही रोमांच खड़े हो गए कि नहीं?
जी
दीदी। हाँ जी दीदी।
बच्चे जानते हैं यहाँ आए हैं अपने सौभाग्य स्वर्ग की तकदीर लेने के लिए। ऐसे और कहीं भी नहीं कहेंगे। तुम जानते हो हम बाप से स्वर्ग का वर्षा ले रहे हैं, अर्थात स्वर्ग बनाने का पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हैं। सिर्फ स्वर्गवासी बनने का नहीं, परंतु स्वर्ग में ऊंच से ऊंच पद पाने का पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हैं। स्वर्ग का साक्षात्कार कराने वाला बाप हमको पढ़ा रहा है। यह भी बच्चों को नशा चढ़ना चाहिए। भक्ति अब खत्म होनी है। कहा जाता है भगवान भक्तों का उद्धार करने आते हैं, क्योंकि रावण की जंजीरों में फंसे हुए हैं। अनेक मनुष्यों की अनेक मतें हैं। कहा जाता है ना, जितनी बुद्धि उतनी मतें होती है। तुम तो जान गए हो ना कि सृष्टि का चक्र यह अनादि खेल बना हुआ है। यह भी भारतवासी समझते हैं। बरोबर हम प्राचीन नई दुनिया के वासी थे, अब पुरानी दुनिया के वासी बने हैं। बाप ने स्वर्ग नई दुनिया बनाई है, रावण ने फिर नरक बनाया है। बाप दादा की मत पर तुम अब अपने लिए नई दुनिया बना रही हो। कौन पढ़ाते हैं? ज्ञान का सागर पतित पावन, जिसकी महिमा गाई जाती है। एक के सिवाय और किसकी महिमा नहीं गाई जाती है, वही पतित पावन है। हम सब कौन है? हम तो पतित है। पावन दुनिया की याद कोई नहीं कर सकते। अभी तुम जानते हो बरोबर 5000 वर्ष पहले पावन दुनिया थी। बाकी सब धर्म शांति में थे। हम भारतवासी सुख धाम में थे। मनुष्य शांति चाहते हैं, परंतु यहाँ तो कोई शांत रह न सके। यह कोई शांति धाम नहीं है। शांति धाम है निराकारी दुनिया, जहाँ से हम आते हैं। बाकी सत्युग है सुख धाम। उसको शांति धाम नहीं कहेंगे। वहां तुम पवित्रता, सुख, शांति में रहते हो। कोई हंगामा नहीं रहता। घर में बच्चे झगड़ा आदि करते हैं तो उनको कहा जाता है शांत रहो। तो बाप कहते हैं तुम आत्माएं उस शांति देश की थी, अब झगड़ालू देश में आकर बैठे हो। यह बात तुम्हारी बुद्धि में है। तुम बाप द्वारा फिर से ऊंच से ऊंच पद पाने का पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हो। यह स्कूल कोई कम थोड़ी ही है, गॉड फादर की यूनिवर्सिटी है। सारी दुनिया में यह बड़े से बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी है। इसमें सब बाप से शांति और सुख का वर्षा पाते हैं। सिवाय एक बाप के और कोई की महिमा नहीं है। ब्रह्मा की महिमा थोड़ी ही है। बाप ही इस समय आकर वर्षा देते हैं। फिर तो सुख ही सुख है। सुख शांति देने वाला एक ही बाप है। उनकी ही महिमा है। सत्य त्रेता में कोई की महिमा होती नहीं। वहां तो राजधानी चलती रहती है। तुम वर्षा पा लेते हो, बाकी सब शांति धाम में रहते हैं। महिमा कोई की नहीं है, बल क्राइस्ट धर्म स्थापन करते हैं। सो तो करना ही है। धर्म स्थापन करते हैं फिर भी नीचे उतरते जाते हैं। महिमा क्या हुई है? महिमा सिर्फ एक की ही है, जिसको पतित पावन लिबरेटर कह बुलाते हैं। ऐसे तो नहीं उनको क्राइस्ट, बुद्ध आदि याद आता होगा। याद फिर भी एक को ही करते हैं। ओ गॉड फादर। सतयुग में तो किसकी महिमा होती नहीं। पीछे यह धर्म शुरू होता है तो बाप की महिमा गाते हैं और भक्ति भी शुरू होती है। ड्रामा कैसे बना हुआ है, कैसे चक्र फिरता है, तो जो आप बाप के बच्चे बने हैं वही जानते हैं। बाप है रचयिता, नई सृष्टि रचते हैं स्वर्ग, परंतु सब तो स्वर्ग में नहीं आ सकते हैं। ड्रामा के राज को भी समझना है ना। बाप से सुख का वर्षा मिलता है। इस समय सब के सब दुखी है। सबको वापस जाना है, फिर आएंगे सुख में। तुम बच्चों को बहुत अच्छा पाठ मिला हुआ है। जिस बाप की इतनी महिमा है वह अब आकर सम्मुख बैठे हुए हैं और बच्चों को समझाते हैं। सब बच्चे ही है ना। बाप तो एवर हैप्पी है। वास्तव में बाप के लिए यह नहीं कह सकते हैं। अगर वह हैप्पी बने तो अनहैप्पी भी बनना पड़ेगा। बाबा तो इन सब से न्यारा है। जो बाप की महिमा है वही इस समय तुम्हारी महिमा है। फिर भविष्य में तुम्हारी महिमा अलग हो जाती है। जैसे बाप ज्ञान का सागर है, तुम भी हो। तुम्हारी बुद्धि में सृष्टि चक्र का ज्ञान है। जानते हो बाप सुख का सागर है। उनसे अथाह सुख मिलते हैं। इस समय तुम बाप से वर्षा ले रहे हो। बाप बच्चों को अभी श्रेष्ठ कर्म सिखला रहे हैं। जैसे ये लक्ष्मी नारायण है, इन्होंने जरूर आगे जन्म में अच्छे कर्म किए हैं जो यह पद पाया है। दुनिया में यह कोई समझते नहीं कि इन्होंने राज्य कैसे पाया। कैसे पाया? कैसे इन्होंने राज्य पाया है? दुनिया में तो कोई नहीं समझते, परंतु हम समझते हैं। कैसे इन्होंने राज्य पाया?
राजयोग से, बाबा की पढ़ाई से,
पुरुषार्थ से संगम युग के पुरुषार्थ किया था।
अच्छा, संगम युग
पवित्रता के बल से।
हाँ जी,
पवित्रता के बल से।
पवित्रता के बल से। वेरी गुड। और
कर्म अकर्म विकर्म की गति को जान।
कर्म अकर्म विकर्म की गुह्य गति को समझकर बने हैं। और
बाबा से वर्षा लेकर।
बाबा से वर्षा लेकर बने हैं। और
श्रेष्ठ कर्म द्वारा।
अच्छा, वह श्रेष्ठ
गुण
कर्म करके बने हैं। वेरी
गुण
गुड।
ग्राही बनकर।
माया जीत बनना।
माया जीत बने हैं तो ऐसे बने हैं। वेल सेड।
जैसे गुणग्राही बनना, बनकर के।
गुणग्राही बने हैं तो जाकर। बिल्कुल, सबके सब पॉइंट सही है, परंतु बाबा का क्या पॉइंट है?
अच्छे कर्म, श्रेष्ठ कर्म है।
श्रेष्ठ कर्म से बने हैं।
देह सहित देह के सभी संबंधों को भूलने के बाद ही श्रेष्ठ कर्म बने।
सहित देह के सभी संबंध भूले हैं तो ऐसे बने हैं। क्या बात है, बहुत सुंदर सुंदर पॉइंट्स बता रहे हो आप। बाबा कहते हैं कि सभी राइट पॉइंट्स हैं। दुनिया में यह कोई नहीं समझते कि इन्होंने राज्य कैसे पाया है। जैसे ये लक्ष्मी नारायण है, इन्होंने जरूर आगे जन्म में अच्छे कर्म किए हैं जो यह पद पाया है। तो पिछले जन्म के कर्म के हिसाब से वो ऐसे पाए हैं। तो बाप कहते हैं कि तुम बच्चे अब यह बन रहे हो, तुम्हारी बुद्धि में यह आता है, हम यह थे फिर यह बनते हैं। बाप बैठ कर्म अकर्म विकर्म की गति समझाते हैं, जिससे हम यह बनते हैं। श्रीमत देते हैं, तो श्रीमत जाननी चाहिए ना। श्रीमत से सारी दुनिया तत्वों आदि सबको श्रेष्ठ बनाते हैं। सतयुग में सब श्रेष्ठ थे। वहां कुछ हंगामा व तूफान आदि होते नहीं, न जास्ती ठंडी न जास्ती गर्मी, सदैव बहारी मौसम रहता है। वहां तुम कितना सुखी रहते हो। वो लोग गाते भी हैं, खुदा बहिष्ठ अथवा हेवन स्थापन करते हैं, तो उसमें ऊंच पद पाने का पुरुषार्थ करना चाहिए। हमेशा गाया जाता है, फॉलो मदर फादर। बाप को याद करने से विक्रम विनाश होंगे और फिर फादर के साथ हम आत्माएं इकट्ठी जाएंगी। श्रीमत पर चलकर हर एक को रास्ता बताना है। बेहद का बाप है स्वर्ग का रचता। अब तो हेल है, जरूर हेल में हेवन का वर्षा दिया होगा। हेवन का वर्षा कब मिला? हेल में हेवन का वर्षा मिला। अब 84 जन्म पूरे होते हैं, फिर हमको पहला जन्म स्वर्ग में लेना है। तुम्हारी एम ऑब्जेक्ट सामने खड़ी है, यह बनने का है। हम सो लक्ष्मी नारायण बनते हैं। वास्तव में इन चित्रों की दरकार नहीं है। जो कच्चे हैं घड़ी घड़ी भूल जाते हैं, इसलिए चित्र रखे जाते हैं। कोई कृष्ण का चित्र रखते हैं, कृष्ण को देखने बिगर याद नहीं कर सकते। सबकी बुद्धि में चित्र तो रहता है, तुमको कोई चित्र लगाने की दरकार नहीं है। तुम अपने को आत्मा समझते हो, तुम्हें अपना चित्र भी भूलना है। देह सहित सब संबंध भूल जाना है। बाप कहते हैं तुम हो आशिक एक माशूक के। माशूक बाप कहते हैं मुझे याद करते रहो तो विक्रम विनाश हो जाएंगे। ऐसी अवस्था रहे जो शरीर जिस समय छूटे तो समझे हम इस पुरानी दुनिया को छोड़ अब बाप के पास जाते हैं। 84 जन्म पूरे हुए, अब जाना है। बाबा ने फरमान किया है, मुझे याद करो। बस बाप को, स्वीट होम को याद करो। बुद्धि में है कि मैं आत्मा बिगर शरीर थी, फिर यहाँ पाठ बजाने के लिए शरीर धारण किया है। पाठ बजाते बजाते पतित बन पड़े हैं। यह शरीर तो है पुरानी जुत्ती। आत्मा पवित्र हो रही है, शरीर पवित्र तो यहाँ मिल न सके। अब हम आत्मा जाएंगे वापस अपना घर। पहले प्रिंस प्रिंसेस बनेंगे, फिर स्वयंवर बाद लक्ष्मी नारायण बनेंगे। मनुष्यों को यह पता नहीं है कि राधे कृष्ण कौन है। दोनों अलग अलग राजधानी के थे, फिर उन्हों का स्वयंवर होता है। तुम बच्चों ने ध्यान में स्वयंवर देखा है। शुरू में बहुत साक्षात्कार होते थे, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में तुमको खुशी में रखने के लिए यह सब पाठ चलते थे। पिछाड़ी में तो है ही मारामारी, अर्थक्वेक आदि बहुत होंगी। तुमको साक्षात्कार होते रहेंगे। हर एक को मालूम पड़ जाएगा हम कौन सा पद पाएंगे। फिर जो कम पढ़े हुए होंगे वो बहुत पछताएंगे। बाप कहेंगे तुम नहीं पढ़े, ना औरों को पढ़ाया, ना याद में रहते थे। 3 बातें। भगवान भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते अगर हमने ठीक से पढ़ाई नहीं की, क्योंकि भगवान तो बाप है और हमारा सुप्रीम टीचर भी है। तो बाप मार्गदर्शन देगा, टीचर हमें अच्छी तरह पढ़ाएगा, परंतु हमने उनका संग नहीं निभाया, ठीक तरीके से पढ़ाई नहीं की, अर्थात ठीक तरीके से पढ़ाई नहीं की अर्थात क्या हो सकता है?
पद भ्रष्ट होगा,
फेल हो जाएंगे,
और
उच्च पद नहीं मिलेगा।
उच्च पद नहीं
हाँ जी,
पाएंगे, उच्च पद नहीं पाएंगे।
हाँ वो सब रिजल्ट है। पद भ्रष्ट होगा, ये उच्च पद नहीं मिलेगा, ये सब एब्सोल्युटली राइट है, रिजल्ट है। परंतु पढ़ाई ठीक तरीके से नहीं पढ़ना अर्थात
श्रीमत
स्वर्ग में नहीं जा पाएंगे।
स्वर्ग में नहीं जा पाएंगे, फिर ये भी रिजल्ट हो गई हमारी।
श्रीमत पर नहीं चले, बाबा का फरमान पर नहीं
चल
चले।
सकते तो पढ़ाई नहीं। हाँ जी, ये भी एक किस्म की रिजल्ट है। जो पढ़ाई नहीं पढ़ते हैं वो श्रीमत पर भी नहीं चल सकते। पढ़ाई
देवी
नहीं
देवता
पढ़ना
बनेंगे,
अर्थात
देवी
बाबा को
देवता।
पहचाना नहीं।
विचार तो नहीं करते हैं।
देह भान का चलते नहीं पड़ते हैं शायद।
मुरली दीदी,
थैंक यू सो
स्वर्ग
मच।
के मालिक नहीं बनेंगे, देवी देवता नहीं बनेंगे।
पढ़ाई नहीं पढ़ा अर्थात मुरली मिस कर दिया।
मिस किया।
मुरली के समय पे या तो सो गए या तो दुनियावी बातों में चले गए। सुबह सुबह मुरली का समय
आयरो सिस्टर में बैठ सुन रही हूँ।
स्पेशल मीटिंग। हाँ जी कमलेश बहन।
आज मेरे को बड़ा वो लग रहा है। आई एम वेरी इल टुडे, आई बीन इल सिंस यस्टरडे। मेरे को टेम्परेचर, स्टमक क्रैम्प्स वगैरह हो रही हैं, बट स्टिल आई एम लिसनिंग इन द बेड।
आप तो पास विद ऑनर हो गए,
आई डोंट
प्रकृति
नो,
चुप हो गए।
आज ऐसे लग
कितना
नहीं
भी
रहा।
करे, देखिए आपको भी बाबा याद कर रहे हैं। कितना भी शरीर का अकाउंट निकला परंतु पढ़ाई मिस नहीं किया है ना।
हाँ
बाबा
जी,
कहते एक ही चीज है, अगर ठीक से ये सब नारायण बनने के लिए और पिछाड़ी के मारामारी नहीं देखना पड़े, साक्षात्कार से स्वयं को और ही बल भरना पड़े, तो ये सब तब होगा। हाँ, हर एक को मालूम पड़ जाएगा हम कौन सा पद पाएंगे। फिर जो कम पढ़े हुए होंगे वो बहुत पछताएंगे। कम पढ़े, बाप कहेंगे तुम नहीं पढ़े, ना औरों को पढ़ाया, ना याद में रहते थे, याद से ही सतो प्रदान बन सकते हो। पतित पावन तो बाप ही है ना। वह कहते हैं मामेकम याद करो तो तुम्हारी खाद निकल जाएगी। पुरुषार्थ करना पड़े याद की यात्रा का। धंधा आदि भल करो, कर्म तो करना ही है ना, परंतु बुद्धि का योग वहां रहे। तमो प्रधान से सतो प्रधान यहाँ बनना है। गृहस्थ व्यवहार में रहते हुए तुम मुझे याद करो, तब ही तुम नई दुनिया के मालिक बनेंगे। बाप और कोई तकलीफ नहीं देते हैं, तुमको बहुत सहज उपाय बताते हैं। सुख धाम का मालिक बनने माम एकम याद करो। अभी तुम याद करो, बाबा भी स्टार है ना। मनुष्य तो समझते हैं यह सर्वशक्तिवान है, बड़ा तेजवान है, एकदम एकदम अखंड ज्योति है, बहुत बड़ी प्रज्वलित रूप है। पर बाप कहते हैं मनुष्य सृष्टि का चैतन्य बीज रूप हूं मैं। बीज होने के कारण सृष्टि के आदि मध्य अंत को जानता हूं। तुम तो बीज नहीं हो, मैं बीज हूं, इसलिए मुझे ज्ञान का सागर कहते हैं। मनुष्य सृष्टि का चैतन्य बीज है, उनको जरूर मालूम होगा ना कि यह सृष्टि चक्र कैसे फिरता है। ऋषि मुनि कोई रचता और रचना को नहीं जानते, ना ही उनके आदि मध्य अंत को जानते हैं। बच्चे अगर जानते तो उनके पास जाने में देरी नहीं लगती, परंतु बाप के पास जाने का रास्ता कोई भी नहीं जानते। ये जो महावाक्य है कि मनुष्य सृष्टि रूपी झाड़ का वो बीज रूप है और वही रचना रचता के आदि मध्य अंत का ज्ञाता है, ये बात जो समझ जाए वो उन्हीं के पास जाए। जो हम समझते ऋषि मुनि के पास ये ज्ञान है, ये सृष्टि के आदि मध्य अंत का पूरा नॉलेज है, इसीलिए साधु संन्यास गुरु गोसाई करते हैं। परंतु जिसको ये पता पड़ जाए तो बाप के पास चला जाए, परंतु किसी को रास्ता ही पता नहीं है। पावन दुनिया में पतित जा ही नहीं सकते, इसलिए बाप कहते हैं बच्चे क्या कहते होंगे,
मामेकम
पावन
याद
दुनिया
करो,
में के
पावन बनो।
और देखिए पावन दुनिया में पतित जा नहीं सकते, इसलिए बाप कहते हैं बच्चे
मुझे याद करो, पवित्र बनो।
मुझे याद करो और पवित्र बनो। बिल्कुल वार्निंग देते हैं कि बच्चे काम महाशत्रु है, काम पर जीत पहनो, यही तुमको आदि मध्य अंत दुख देता है। तुम बच्चों को कितना अच्छी रीति समझाते हैं, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, सिर्फ बाप और वर्षे को याद करना है। बाप की याद अर्थात योग से पाप भस्म हो जाएंगे। सेकंड में बाप से ही बादशाही मिलती है। बच्चे बल स्वर्ग में तो आएंगे, परंतु स्वर्ग में भी ऊंच पद पाना उसका पुरुषार्थ करना है। स्वर्ग में तो जाना ही है, थोड़ा भी सुनने से समझ जाएंगे बाप आया है। ये भगवान वाच है, लोग सुनेंगे समझ जाएंगे कि ये कोई दुनियावी मनुष्य नहीं है जो सुना रहा है, ये कोई और नहीं, ये तो भगवान ही कह सकता है। तो इसीलिए भगवान वाच सुनाना है। कभी भी टॉक शो में, स्पेशल टॉक्स में जो ज्ञान सुनाया जाता है वो थोड़ा सा मिक्स करके सुनाया जाता है, परंतु उसमें भगवान वाच तो थोड़ा बहुत सुना ही देते हैं, ताकि आत्माओं को पहचान हो कि ये ज्ञान सर्वोच्च ज्ञान जो परमात्मा सुनाते हैं ये इनके पास है, अर्थात इनको पढ़ाने वाला भगवान है। स्वर्ग में तो जाना ही है ना, थोड़ा भी सुनने से समझ जाएंगे ये बाप आया हुआ है। अभी भी कहते हैं ये वही महाभारत लड़ाई है। जरूर बाप भी होगा जो बच्चों को राजयोग सिखलाते हैं। तुम सबको जगाते रहते हो, जो बहुतों को जगाएंगे वह ऊंच पद पाएंगे। पुरुषार्थ करना है ना, सब एक जैसे पुरुषार्थी हो न सके। स्कूल बड़ा भारी है, यह है वर्ल्ड की यूनिवर्सिटी, सारी वर्ल्ड को सुखधाम और शांतिधाम बनाना है। ऐसा टीचर कभी होता है क्या? यूनिवर्स सारी दुनिया को कहा जाता है, बाप ही सारी यूनिवर्स के मनुष्य मात्र को सतो प्रदान बनाते हैं, अर्थात स्वर्ग बनाते हैं। भक्ति मार्ग में जो भी त्योहार मनाते हैं वह सभी अब संगम युग के हैं। सतयुग त्रेता में कोई त्योहार होता नहीं है, वहां तो प्रारब्ध भोगते हैं। त्योहार सब यहाँ मनाते हैं। होली और धुरिया यह ज्ञान की बातें हैं। कल की मुरली आपको याद है, होली और धुरिया?
हाँ जी मैंने चेक करा था इंग्लिश में, वो कलर्स जो सारे मिला के धूल फेंकते हैं, लाइक यू नो व्हेन दे सेलिब्रेट होली,
कल
तो
की
फिर वो
बाबा
ये कि आंखों में भी धूल झोंकते हैं, लाइक
बिल्कुल।
तो
तो बाबा ने दो दो शब्दों में होली और धुरिया का यथार्थ अर्थ हम बच्चों को समझाया। समझाने के बाद बाबा ने कहा, बाप ने बच्चों से होली मनाया है, अर्थात वो अनुभव बाबा ने दे दिया कल की होली, किस तरीके से हम बाबा के साथ होली मना चुके। ज्ञान और योग, ज्ञान और दो दो शब्द याद है ना, होली धुरिया, ज्ञान
ज्ञान विज्ञान,
योग, ज्ञान विज्ञान, परतंत्र स्वतंत्र, दो दो शब्दों की बातें कल की पूरी मुरली में निकालेंगे। सतो प्रदान तमो प्रदान। तो बाबा कहते, पास्ट जो हुआ उसके सब त्योहार मनाते आए हैं, है सब इस समय के, होली भी इस समय की ही है। इस 100 वर्ष के अंदर सब काम हो जाता है। 100 वर्ष में 5000 वर्ष के लिए रीति रस्म रिवाज विधि विधान सब सेट हो जाता है। बाबा आके सब सेट करके चले जाते हैं, सृष्टि भी नई बन जाती है। तुम जानते हो, हमने अनेक बार सुख का वर्षा लिया है, फिर गवाया भी है। खुशी होती है, हम फिर से बाप से वर्षा ले रहे हैं, और उनको भी रास्ता बताना है। ड्रामा अनुसार स्वर्ग की स्थापना होनी है जरूर। जैसे दिन के बाद रात, रात के बाद दिन होता है, वैसे कलयुग के बाद जरूर सतयुग होना है। मीठे मीठे बच्चों की बुद्धि में खुशी का नगाड़ा बजना चाहिए। अब समय पूरा होता है, हम जाते हैं कहाँ, कहाँ जाते हैं?
अपनी राजधानी में,
शांति धाम जाते हैं। यह
परम धाम।
नियम है, कर्म भोग की भोगना भी खुशी से भोगेंगे। कर्म भोग है, दुख है, दर्द है शरीर का, संबंधों का, हम खुशी में भोगेंगे, खुशी में हल्के रहेंगे। कर्म भोग से क्या होता है, भारीपन आ जाता है, चेहरा भारी, आवाज भारी, और शब्द भारी, अंदाज भारी, व्यवहार सब में भारीपन दिखाई पड़ता है। परंतु बाबा क्या कहते हैं, कर्म भोग भोगेंगे, भोगना भी खुशी में हल्के होकर भोगेंगे। कुछ भोगना से, कुछ योग बल से हिसाब किताब चुक कर ही लेंगे। बाप बच्चों को धैर्य देते हैं, तुम्हारे सदा सुख के दिन आ रहे हैं, धंधा आदि भी करना है ना, शरीर निर्वाह अर्थ पैसे तो चाहिए ना। बाबा ने समझाया है, धंधे वाले लोग धर्माओं निकालते हैं, जो धंधा करते हैं कुछ परसेंटेज धर्म कर्म के लिए भगवान के नाम पे निकाल के रखते हैं। समझते हैं जास्ती धन इकट्ठा होगा तो बहुत दान करेंगे। यहाँ भी बाप समझाते हैं, कोई 2 पैसा भी देते हैं तो उनको रिटर्न में 21 जन्मों के लिए बहुत मिल जाता है। आगे जो तुम दान पुण्य करते थे उसका रिटर्न दूसरे जन्म में मिलता था, अब तो 21 जन्मों के लिए एवजा मिलता है। आगे साधु संत आदि को देते थे ना, अब तो तुम जानते हो यह सब खत्म हो जाना है। तो यह सब जब खत्म ही होना है तो यहाँ के चीजों को दान पुण्य करना, यहाँ के अलग अलग जगह जाते हैं दान पुण्य करने के लिए। कहाँ कहाँ देते, अनाथ आश्रम में देते भगवान के नाम पे, फिर मंदिरों में देते हैं, फिर सत्र ऐसे कुछ होते हैं ना, धर्मशालाओं में देते हैं। तो इस तरीके से कोई तो विश्वविद्यालय यूनिवर्सिटीज को देते हैं, कोई तो हॉस्पिटल्स को भी देते हैं। ये सब धर्म कर्म के लिए निकालते हैं। अब मैं सम्मुख आया हूँ तो इस कार्य में लगाओ, अंडरलाइन करने वाली बात है। अब मैं सम्मुख आया हूँ, इस कार्य में लगाओ, अर्थात धर्माओं धर्म कर्म की सभी जो चीजें हैं, खास करके धन की सेवा अब बाबा की सेवा में लगानी है। तो तुमको 21 जन्मों के लिए वर्षा मिल जाएगा। आगे तुम इनडायरेक्ट देते थे, यह है डायरेक्ट देना। बाकी तो तुम्हारा सब खत्म हो जाएगा। बाबा कहते रहते हैं, पैसे है तो सेंटर खोलते जाओ, अक्षर लिख दो। सच्ची गीता पाठशाला है ये। भगवान वाचा माँ में कम याद कर, और वर्षे को भी याद कर। अच्छा मीठे मीठे सिखलते बच्चों प्रति माता पिता
माता
बाप
पिता
दादा
याद प्यार और
रूहानी बाप की बच्चों को
नमस्ते।
हम रूहानी बच्चों
हम रूहानी बच्चों को, रूहानी बाप दादा को प्यार, गुड मॉर्निंग और नमस्ते।
नमस्ते।
शुक्रिया बाबा, शुक्रिया दीदी।
शुक्रिया बाबा। धारणा के लिए मुख्य सार। पहला पॉइंट, बाप समान महिमा योग्य बनने के लिए फॉलो फादर करना है। कौन सा महिमा? बाबा की आज की मुरली में बाबा ने सुना, ये बाप का महिमा है, ये आपका महिमा नहीं है करके, ये किसी की महिमा नहीं है करके बताया। कौन सा है बाप का महिमा? तीन बातें बाबा ने सुनाई, ये महिमा किसी की भी नहीं है।
एक तो उन्होंने बताया था, आपने बताया था मुरली में कि पुराने उन्होंने पिछले जन्म के अच्छे कर्म करे हैं जो अब उनको ये श्रेष्ठ भाग्य मिला।
तो लक्ष्मी नारायण के विषय में बाबा तो ये अच्छे बुरे कर्म के साइकिल में, खुशी और गम के साइकिल में तो है ही नहीं। वो तो चक्र का ऊपर है, समय से आगे है, ऊपर है, उपराम है। तो कौन सी वो तीन महिमा है जो किसी को भी नहीं दे सकते?
मनुष्य सृष्टि का बीज रूप है।
मैं सृष्टि के आदि मध्य अंत का बीज रूप हूँ, अगर ये जान लो तो फिर सब पता चल जाएगा। आप
ये जान लो तो उसके पास पहुंच जाएंगे। बाबा ने
जाएंगे,
बाप के पास आ जाएंगे अगर ये जान लो। बाबा ने कहा, ज्ञान का सागर, पतित पावन और मनुष्य सृष्टि रूपी बीज, ये महिमा सिर्फ और सिर्फ बाप की है,
भगवान
जी। तो आप भी अगर महिमा योग्य बाप समान बनना चाहते हैं, मास्टर बीज, मास्टर ज्ञान का सागर और मास्टर पतित पावन बन सकते हैं अगर फॉलो फादर करेंगे तो। दूसरा, यह अंतिम जन्म है, अब घर जाना है, इसलिए खुशी में अंदर ही अंदर क्या होना चाहिए? क्या होना चाहिए? अंदर ही
नगाड़े
जागृत होना चाहिए।
नगाड़े बजने,
नगर
नगाड़े कब बजाते हैं?
होना चाहिए।
नगाड़े कब बजाते हैं?
जो
खुशी
विजय प्राप्त करते हैं ना, तो नगाड़ा बजते हैं ना, विजय प्राप्त।
एक है कोई विशेष बात की सेलिब्रेशन, नगाड़ा हर वक्त नहीं बजता है। कोई विशेष सेलिब्रेशन है, खास करके विजय की सेलिब्रेशन है, तो नगाड़ा बजते हैं। या तो कोई ऐलान करना होता है तो नगाड़ा बजाकर सबको बुलाकर सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। तो बाबा कहते अंदर में, अंदर ही अंदर खुशी के नगाड़े बजने चाहिए। नॉट एन ऑर्डिनरी म्यूजिक, ऑर्डिनरी सिम्फनी नहीं, नगाड़े बजने चाहिए। नगाड़ा जब बजता है तो दूर दूर तक उसकी आवाज सुनाई पड़ती है। कर्म भोग को कर्म योग से, अर्थात बाप की याद से खुशी खुशी चुप करना। यह फॉर्मूला कंप्लीटली याद रखना है। कर्म भोग चुप करना नहीं, कर्म भोग को कर्म योग से, अर्थात बाप की याद से, और आखिरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, खुशी खुशी चुप करना है। क्योंकि या तो कर्म भोग या तो कर्म योग, दोनों से तो कंप्लीटली हमको अपने अकाउंट्स क्लियर करना है। बाबा ने आज की मुरली में कहा, कर्म भोग चुप किए बगैर पावन दुनिया में नहीं जा सकते और वापस घर भी नहीं जा सकते। आज का वरदान, अपने स्मृति की ज्योति से ब्राह्मण कुल का नाम रोशन करने वाले कुल दीपक भव। अपने स्मृति की ज्योति से ब्राह्मण कुल का नाम रोशन करने वाले कुल दीपक भव। यह ब्राह्मण कुल सबसे बड़े से बड़ा कुल है। इस कुल के आप सब दीपक हो। कुल दीपक अर्थात सदा अपने स्मृति की ज्योति से ब्राह्मण कुल का नाम रोशन करने वाले, अखंड ज्योति अर्थात सदा स्मृति स्वरूप और समर्थी स्वरूप। अखंड ज्योति, अपनी परिचय की स्मृति में रहना है, सदा वो ज्योति जगी हुई हो, सदा जागृत अवस्था में हो और सदा अखंड भी हो, अर्थात सदा स्मृति स्वरूप और समर्थी स्वरूप। उस ज्योति में क्या होना चाहिए? दो बातें, स्मृति स्वरूप भी हो जाए कि अहम आत्मा ज्योतिर्बिंदु स्वरूप, ये स्मृति स्वरूप और समर्थी स्वरूप। यदि स्मृति स्मृति रहे कि मैं मास्टर सर्वशक्तिवान हूँ, तो समर्थ स्वरूप स्वतः रहेंगे। इस अखंड ज्योति का यादगार आपके जड़ चित्रों के आगे अखंड ज्योति जगाते हैं। इस अखंड ज्योति का यादगार आपके जड़ चित्रों के आगे अखंड ज्योति। कई ऐसे मंदिर है जहाँ अखंड ज्योति जलती है। स्लोगन, जो सर्व आत्माओं के प्रति शुद्ध संकल्प रखते हैं वही वरदानी मूर्त है। जो सर्व आत्माओं के प्रति शुद्ध संकल्प रखते हैं वही वरदानी मूर्त है। कभी भी उनके मुख से वरदान के अलावा कुछ नहीं निकलेगा। हर एक के प्रति, चाहे आत्मा जाना हो, अनजाने आत्माओं के प्रति भी सदा अंदर से वो एक आदत होती है, वो एक संस्कार होती है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ शुभ भावना और शुद्ध संकल्प देने की। ऐसे हमारे पास सभी ब्राह्मण तो फॉलो फादर करते हैं, और आजकल हम दादियों की बात करते हैं तो क्योंकि दादियों ने फॉलो फादर करते हुए इतनी बड़ी उपाधि प्राप्त की है और हम सबके सामने बहुत बड़ी एग्जाम्पल सेट की है। इतना हमारा प्रेरणा स्रोत, ऐसे ही हमारे वरिष्ठ भाई बहन जिन्होंने दादियों को भी फॉलो किया है, ऐसे हमारे ब्रह्मा कुमार राजयोगी बलवंत भाई जी, जिनको हम आज अपनी सभा में आह्वान करे हैं, वो मधुबन से हम सबसे कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं। तो बलवंत भाई को हम थैंक यू भी करेंगे और वेलकम भी करेंगे। इन पुष्प गुच्छों के साथ लेगोस की धरनी से आपको स्वागत है, बहुत 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 स्वागत है। These are the fresh flowers specially for you, Bhaiji, and to all the Brahmin family also. Balwant Bhai, kindly you can unmute yourself. बाबा की याद में 1 मिनट साइलेंस में बैठते हैं, जब तब तक बलवंत भाई अनम्यूट करके। आज की बाबा की दिव्य रत्नों को बुद्धि में इमर्ज करेंगे, धारण करेंगे, बाबा को थैंक यू करेंगे। Om Shanti. Bhalwan Bhai, could you please switch on your video? Dhanji, thank you. Kindly unmute yourself.
start my video. Is that it?
Yes, absolutely. Your video is also started and we are able to hear you. Welcome. आपका स्वागत है
Hey, thank
लेगोस की बाबा की फुलवारी में.
you. Can see me okay or no? You have
Yes, we
light?
can see you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, this was something.
We can see you, but the light is behind you.
Yes, okay. Let me just say one thing. Hold on.
But if you're comfortable,
Any difference or no?
बलवंत भाई आपका वीडियो हुआ है.
Okay, he said start my video. You okay now?
हाँ जी, please continue.
Okay.
हाँ जी.
Okay, you might not be able to see me. It's a bright day today here, and it's getting hot, and this is the only room I could choose, for example. Yes? Okay. So it's very good to be with you, Gautam Ben, and also the Lagos family. No? And always had connection with Lagos in many years ago, no? For example, because I know that Gentiban used to come, Indu was there before, Sadhna was there before from Delhi, many were there. So I thought one day I will go, no? But that day hasn't come yet. That's fine.
Sure.
Because I used to say to Reva Benna, how come you here? No, I could be there and you could be here. So it used to be just like that, for example. No? Anyway, present time is obviously we are all aware of many things. No? Not just knowledge, not just gyan, not just yoga, but things that surrounds us. No? The present circumstances with the COVID, and it's not the same in each country, but where we have to pay attention particularly. No? I'm only sharing these special things because I've spent many years with Daddy. No? For example, Daddy is the one who gave me birth, spiritual birth, and Daddy is the one who sustained me. And then Daddy, I saw Daddy at the end, for example. No? I had a special thing. There was so many things we've learned being with someone who is, Baba's always mentioned about the 8 June, Ashtaratan. And I used to sometimes think, what is Ashtaratan? Na? I knew about 108, 108, but not Ashtaratan. But then being with all the other Ashtaratan so far, which Baba has mentioned, like Daddy Kumarka, Didi, Vishwa Kishore, and so many, and Daddy Janki, for example, Daddy Gulza, so on, and have spent time with each one of them. But the most of the time I've spent was with Daddy Janki, for example. And sometimes you get this realization from inside. When Baba talks about Asratan, what is it, for example? So many small things, medium, large, something unexpected things were there, whole life. No? And something which we move forward, although things happen, but we move forward. No? Because this is one of the things Baba has always said. Bhakti means bhakti, and bhakti carries on. For us, bhakti is finished, we're in gyan, for example, knowledge. No? It's a different thing. But life outside has that ability with the path of bhakti. But our service stays as it is, as Baba says. So present time, service is a little different, but we still continue with that. No? So when Daddy, I was 1 week in Calcutta. And after I finished 1 week in Calcutta, I was in 1 week Hyderabad. And then I came back to Ahmedabad, and that's the only time I found that Daddy had left from Ahmedabad to come to Global Hospital. Na? And I had to decide that time, what shall I do? Shall I go without taking leave, or shall I go back to Madhuban and take leave and leave? Na? So I had big, strong feeling about this. Na? So I decided that no, I must take leave from Daddy before I go back to London. Na? This was the feeling. So then I presume that I carry on with this my thought, which was strong, and I said there must be something and so on. No? So I decided. Then I went to Madhuban, and I found that Daddy was in intensive care in Global Hospital, and that's the time. So I reached there safely. It's okay, because after 1 week I would have to go back, no, with by booking. So this was there. So myself and Kumar, we used to go to hospital every day. It although it was locked down, but Daddy, we had a pass in which we were able to go and share or be with Hansa and so. So Hansa used to call us, and Hansa used to tell us, oh, now you can come and say hello. No? One day it might not be hello, or just viewing Daddy from the glass window. And then the other day you could say, Hansa would say, no, come inside and do. No? So just the day before Daddy left the body, myself, Jentiben, Hansa, we spent about 40 minutes with Daddy. Yeah? It was a different thing. Different thing in a way that we were trying to keep her entertained, alert. Yeah? And so Deepak, another brother who looks after, was that time. He got a projector, and we put the projector on the floor, and the slides you could see it up on the ceiling, né? Because Daddy was lying down. So this is what happened. Daddy was lying down, so she could see upstairs in that, na? And it was very good in that way. In that way, yeah. So what is the thing about this was very special, and I felt that special. Okay, Nina, I'm on the Zoom. I'll call you back.
No, don't call me.
So what happened was how to keep Daddy entertained, nah? And alive or alert in a way that we all like. Nah? So 5 minutes, we did something different. After that, 10 minutes different. But Daddy was fluctuating, means that stage was good 1 minute, next minute is no good anything. But we didn't expect Daddy to leave the body, for example. No, it was different thing altogether. So we spent about 40 minutes that time. So after 40 minutes, I came out and I was sitting there. No? Hansa came up to me and she said, don't worry, Daddy will pull through. She said she will pull through because Hansa has this experience with being with Daddy, for example. And me, I've been with Daddy in London for all these years. So I've taken Daddy for many things, but Hansa said pull through. So I don't know. At that moment, I was just remembering Baba. Yes, Baba can pull anyone through. And that's what happened. So after that day in the evening, myself and Kumar, we were sitting on the balcony where we were staying in Pandavavan in Sukdam. No? And it was 10:30, quarter to 11. We were still sitting and chatting and talking. And then something happened. And what was that? The weather was changing. No? So everything began to sway with the wind, and then the rain began to start coming, and many things was happening. So I said to Kumar, I haven't seen weather like this in this time of the year. And he said, it's true, it's not been like that before. And we said, well, how come this is happening now then, no? For example. And so this is what happened. And then we talked about a lot, shared about a lot, no? With Daddy. He's been with Daddy driving here for while he's in Madhuban. And then at about 11 o'clock, half 11, he went back to his room and I went to sleep. But I couldn't sleep that night. No? Then first time, 2 o'clock in the morning, he came back and started knocking on the door. That's the first time, 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, what? He said, I'm Kumar. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm knocking. I said, I've heard the news that daddy has left the body. 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I said to him, no, not possible. No? He said, no, it's Devi phoned me to say this. So we went quickly back to hospital just to say, that he really have left the body. No? So we were the first one there, myself and Kumar. Dr. Pratap just came while we were reaching there, and it's true, no? Daddy left saying there. And then Hansa was crying. A lot of people, you could feel and experience. No one expected that Daddy would leave, but this is what happened now. So it was a big story like this. For us, what can we do? We just stood there for 40 minutes and just thinking about the Daddy. Because of lockdown, everything had to be possible to take being in action. Funeral, for example, where, no? What time, a lot of things was happening, but we were mainly focused on Daddy just lying there on intensive care. But decision had to be made quickly because of lockdown, and answers were coming differently. So Dr. Pratap was involved, Mrutyunjay Bhai was involved, Nirvay Bhai was involved. All these were involved. So we had this personal feeling this time, that how can this be possible, for example, but it was really possible, which no one expected. Then so funeral began to happen. The body then was moved from intensive care to a hall. So myself and Sister Urvashi and other one, we did meditation there, and people used to come in there, and then they used to do yoga and myself everything, and we were beginning to get clear. Not clear. The clear was only from the government, not from our decision, because government was the one uh, main body taking actions of decision. huh? If we said yes, if they said yes, then we had to obey. huh? So there were many things like this coming up. huh? And it's the first time in my whole life that I've seen the funeral take place same day. Same day. In London, not possible. No? Other countries, not possible. For example, I've been to many other brothers and sisters' funeral in Madhuban, but not same day. No? So this had to be taken the same day, and that was mainly coming from the um, bodies from the government, and also from because of lockdown. Main reason was lockdown. So everything was happening quickly and fast. And so finally, when it was decided that it would take in Shantivan and what time it would be taken, everything was there. But the main thing for with us was they said maximum 60 to 80 people, no more. But there were more than 2,500 people in Shantivan, no? More than 2,500. But none of them could attend the funeral. None of them could attend the funeral. So when we went down, we did everything normally that would happen, and we had to finish the funeral by 12:30. So everything, procession was there. Shantiva, we went to Pandav Bhavan, and then we went to Gyan Sarovar, then came down, then we went to Daddy's cottage, then everything. But the main people surrounding and looking all this were the government people. No, they would not take anyone extra. We had to give our names when we were coming down to the security people. Otherwise, they won't let you through. No? This was another big thing, for example. No? So everything happened, everything was happening, and we had to be content. We had to see what's best in that scene, and everything was there. No? So then, obviously, everything was finished by 1 o'clock, the sacrificial fire and everything. And then, obviously, after that, in the evening, the bhog is offered, the main first bhog, which we did here was done with Daddy Gulza. Nah? And so Daddy Janki's Bhog was offered. Shashiben came, was the first one, and we offered Bhog and everything was there. The message Baba gave, the qualities she had, what the soul will do in the future, a lot of things like this. Nah? Daddy didn't suffer, but Daddy had different plan, and only when she couldn't see the physical body that she could manage, then she went up to Baba and Baba said, okay, but child, come. Huh? And that was it. So first Bhog message we heard from Rukmani at lunchtime. She used to come in Daddy's cottage lunchtime, and every up to the 12th day she offered Bhog. And Baba used to give all different messages for 12. And on the 13th day, obviously, is the final message, that Baba gave. So one of the things which I noticed, myself and Kumar at that evening were talking about it and weather change, everything. So Rukmani mentioned this, but what Baba said about that, Baba said that Prakriti elements were preparing Daddy, for Daddy, for her to leave the body, and so that everything was okay. And that was the reason why we said to ourselves with Kumar that this is not ordinary in this way at this time, something is happening. And that was really the proof. No? Baba gave this in the message, for example. So then what do we do? For one book message, two, when Baba said child will take rebirth. No? Baba said this very clearly. And she will do the service that is missing at present time, or the gap is not being filled. The gap has to be filled. Whenever Baba thinks the soul will help, then Baba will use that soul, particularly at that particular time, and to make sure that the soul is able to do the service. Baba didn't question anything, but Baba will use the ability that soul has. Then I was thinking in that way, that yes, many things we've learned from Daddy, but Baba still has that particular aspect to use at the right time. And I was amazed at that time. And then obviously everyone, even after 13 days, everyone was still thinking, everyone still feeling and everything. So I did say to myself, what do I do at this time? We couldn't go back because of lockdown. We couldn't do anything else except to do extra yoga. Everything we did at that time was very beneficial. So I used to decided to do 3 hours yoga every day, not 3 hours yoga every day at that time. And I did that, for example, which was a different experience of bringing and experiencing that day at that time. But then what do we do, for example? And many things used to come from London and from here, and what kind of memorial, everything was happening. But my basic thing was that whatever we learned from Daddy, whatever she came, must put into ourselves, practice and pay attention. So while the work, I came here when Daddy Gurza left the body, myself and Jentiben, we both came together, and I was just keeping an eye on the Shakti stump they were still doing. And in that particular stump, there is speciality which Daddy had, in which said simplicity, for example, and then honesty, and then the third one was cleanliness. Cleanliness. So I said these are the qualities in which everyone saw in her. And other qualities which is the base where the stump stands, they have many varieties of things. For example, so I was thinking a simplicity, for example. So when I first daddy met first in 1974, or end of 74, and that was the time what do I see in Daddy? She was very simple, yeah, But one thing in simplicity was her drishti. In that drishti was not ordinary. Simplicity, yes, Baba has given many things how to maintain simplicity, whether it's food or clothes or your lifestyles, many ways like that. Nah? And Daddy had come from India, and Baba had told her that what to do in there. Nah? So when she came, she shared one story in which Baba asked who would like to go and do service in abroad. Nah? So that didn't put her hands up that time, but everyone pointed out to Daddy Janki. And said, so Daddy said, what am I going to do, for example, there? Nah, I can't speak language, English language, which is true. I don't know the culture, for example. I wouldn't know what to do or what else. No? Papa said, no, simple. Uh, Papa said to create mini Madhuban, for example. Now that touched Daddy. That really touched Daddy. Huh? And then Daddy accepted this. And when she came at that year in the service, there were quite a few before Daddy came. Ratan Moini Daddy had come already. And Jagdish Pai was there, but they only came temporarily just to see and if see what can be done, for example. No? So by having this that time and look at being with Daddy, simplicity was outstanding. But within this simplicity, the important was the knowledge and drishti. No? Two things I found, because people don't know how this knowledge becomes verified in a way that we are able to share the knowledge with different way in which different from the scriptures. No? There are points which are important. No? And when you meet people, how she used to give them this awareness and sustenance. And these are the two things which she used to do that, no? For example. So this was one of the main aspect in which we moved forward in this particular way. No? So what else can we see about simplicity? But simplicity stood out in Dadi, whether she went into the big program, whether she gave class, or whether she was go and meet people in this way. No? I used to be with Daddy most of the time. No? Whether it's a program or when someone is ill, no? She used to go and meet them in their home and be with them. So many times Daddy said, okay, come Balwan, take me there. So we used to go there in family, no? Family place. And then Daddy go around the house and have a look. No? She will go in all the bedroom and have a look. She'll be sitting in the sitting room and then she'll go in the kitchen and then she will call the student there whose house belongs to. No? And she says, oh, everything is good, but there's something missing. So they used to ask, what is missing? No? Because they wouldn't know. So then Daddy says, look, you have things here, but there's one thing missing is Baba's room. It was busy. Baba's room? Yes, Baba said, Daddy used to say, oh, upstairs box room is small, but you can make that into Baba's room. Wonderful. Yeah? Wonderful way to give some in the family. No? So Daddy didn't assume that if I tell them this, they will not do it. No? For example, they will do it for the beneficial, just to create that atmosphere in the house, make them strong while living in the family path, and many things like this. Very naturally is used to happen. No? So this was just a one sort of example in which this happened, for example. No? So being with Daddy was wonderful. No? Happiness was always there. No? And Daddy was very concentrated, but at the same time, her intellect was also remembering Baba, many things, for example. No? So I asked one day, Daddy, how do you remember Baba? Huh? Hello?
Yes, Balwant Bhai, we can hear you.
Okay, so I asked one day, Daddy, okay, Daddy, how do you remember Baba all the time? Huh? And then there was a long queue of meeting. People were waiting to meet Daddy. And Daddy said, you should always come and say hello to me. No? But then I thought that, oh, how can I wait half an hour? How can I wait all these things? And then I would say hello to Daddy, for example. No? So one day I said this, then after half an hour waiting, I went there and I said hello to Daddy. Then I asked one question to Daddy and asked her, Daddy, how do you remember Baba all this time while you are meeting people? Huh? So one answer Daddy gave was very good. He said, when I meet people, I assume that I'm in Baba's remembrance and I give them such a vision and drishti that I'm able to uplift them. No? This is what I said to her. But then I said, Daddy, how can you remember Baba when you are meeting so many people throughout the day? And she suggested one point which stood out inside me. And she said, when I finish with someone and then someone else comes, I quickly go to Baba and I make sure that my vision or my power that I have at this time will remain the same. So when someone else comes, I will be aware that I am able to give them that shakash, the light. Yeah? But at the same time, my drishti in which the remembrance is there, then I'm able to share that experience with them. So benefits in both ways. Nah? Daddy keeps the Baba's remembrance, and at the same time, whoever comes in front of her, they will also experience Baba through different way. Nah? So blessing from Daddy has always been there. Nah? She always like giving toli. Nah? Always, always. Even in the car when I used to take her, even in the class, na, she'll tell Hansa, I will give Toli. And Hansa used to say, no, Daddy, there are so many. And Daddy said, no, I will give Toli. Yes? And it was one of those things because students who have been in connection with Daddy have been always have one thing, na? Drishti from Daddy and the Toli, for example. Blessing is a different thing, but Toli and Drishti is important. Na? And many experiences like this. Na? Daddy didn't just listen to one person. Na? Daddy had everyone in mind, and everyone who did the service, she always made them aware, for example. Na? So sometimes we used to wonder, na, when some souls are not well, suppose, for example, na, and some souls are struggling in the Brahman life, na, and then what used to happen is someone will go and tell Daddy about them, Daddy, this soul is struggling and how can we help and all these things. Na? So whenever I could help in that way, Daddy used to call me. No? And she used to say, Balwant, you go and help this soul. No? For example. Now I used to ask myself question, what am I going to help her? How am I going to help? No? But I didn't used to say no to Daddy. No, no, I didn't. Because in everything there is a way of doing. No? And everything there's a strength. No? So there's this one brother who helped me a lot in maintenance construction, and he was going through a bit of a hard time with the self, and Daddy said how we. So I thought about this. I was uh, going to Lisbon, Portugal, and then I thought, okay, I'll take him with me, and there used to be another Baba's house there. No? So I said he can help there for him. So one aspect behind this was to how to uplift that soul, uplift that soul. So Daddy created this for many souls, not just for that. No? So when that soul was working there, he felt different, like service wise. No? Then you mold and do something like this. No? And so Daddy always had this one particular aspect, simplicity, but how to merge this simplicity into virtues and qualities when it requires. And that is important. Even when we hear many stories about Mahatma Gandhi, one thing he had in him was non-violence, for example. Yes? And so Daddy also had many qualities like this, and she used to bring it out and try to help the soul in that way. So when that soul was in Lisbon helping and he came back, he shared his experience in which it was good. And it was important that time. My experience was looking and feeling, and not that you with someone, but how each one is uplifted. Yeah? That he always had this blessing, always gave the blessing different way. Yeah? Even if someone went to complain to Daddy about you or anyone else, Dad didn't take that seriously. Daddy will call you, suppose, and when it needs to tell you something, she will tell you with love. But she will not tell you with negativity. She will not do that. She will tell you with love if she feels that you need to be heard. If not, she won't tell you. Her drishti remains for you at the same level all the time. Because she's more aware of that than yourself, for example. I mean, there were many other things in which karobar or many things used to happen in Sukhna. I was mainly involved with driving Daddy around or pick up a gas if she tells me this one coming, and then I used to do that. But the main field I used to look after was obviously Baba's building, project and maintenance and like this. So whatever we took one house, then after next, and after next like this, used to follow this nicely, in that way. But Daddy always had faith. This is one thing. Why I'm telling you this story, because of Ashtaratan. Different behavior, different upbringing, different solution in those particular souls. Even if I didn't have the ability to do something, she won't say not do it. She'll say do it. She will say do it. Now, I used to think, oh, but I never thought I could do it, but I did it. I have many experience, for example. So one day, one year when we got Baba's house, I was looking for different trade people. Someone who can do electric, someone who can do plumbing, someone who can do carpentry, and different thing like that. So I was thinking about when we got this Baba's house, who would do plumbing? So I was thinking for 2 days. I've been thinking and thinking, and I thought Baba would send someone for plumbing, and it used to happen because in those days we didn't used to get people from outside. We used to do mostly what we can do. For example, so this person came up knocking at the door. And he said, I'm looking for work. And I said, what kind of work? And he said, I do mostly plumbing. Wow. I said, for last 2 days I've been thinking doing plumbing and plumbing. So I gave him the work to do plumbing, and he worked there for 3-4 days, and then he disappeared. He disappeared. So I used to tell Baba, and I used to then share it with Daddy. Daddy, this is happening, and this is happening, and this happened. Daddy always used to say, it's good that you look after, and it's good many things will happen. It's true, many things was happening, but not knowing where people were coming and why they were coming, just came and did the work and went, for example. So this is obviously Baba. Baba does many things used to do many things through Daddy. And I have a lot of that sort of experience. Many things in which way? As the progress moved, the service used to change, houses used to change, many other different things used to come in front of you, and you used to manage it. So Daddy was very profound in that way. nah? But always kept the family together. I think Brahma Baba also was a great example in this, how to keep the family intact. Na? Baba knew when he promised Baba how he will become interactive in this particular when he started playing his own role. Na? And Baba knew, Brahma Baba, my many children will come, na? For example. And Baba used to remember also foreign children. Na? When time comes, they will also come, for example. No? So in this particular aspect was so different. Daddy was always sweet, for example. I don't know, Daddy's age was 104, and within that age, Daddy had everything which needed to be shown, which needed to become the experimental thing, which needed to be not just for class, but for everyone. No? And she used to give things. No? While sitting in one place, she always used to send. If Daddy find out that, oh, I'm going there, Daddy, for 2 weeks, she will give me things. She will know the teacher, she will know the class, and she said, no, you take this, and that. Yeah? We never used to do that. But Daddy used to remind us in a small thing, but result of that, how the soul can be sustained. And that was important. Huh? How the soul. Even now, when we listen to Baba's Moli has been 15 years old, for example, no? But it touches us now, no? Touches now in a different way. When we first heard that, when we used to hear that Moli, uh, it touched us, but not the same way as it touches now, for example, no? Because there are deep, significant point I'm able to pick up or able to see it in that way. No? So that was very different aspect in that way. No? So Daddy used to mention these points of knowledge differently. No? And whenever I used to have time, I used to go and say, ah,
Balwant Bhai, a small also request. Kindly include the about your experience. You had underwent a major brain surgery.
ah,
So can you please include your experience at that time and the power that you have got and support from Dadi and how you really have passed that account?
mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
Thank you.
one thing was sure, um, used to share a lot of things with Daddy, not just one thing, but work-wise. And Daddy, as used when Daddy used to come when we had a property, she used to come and say, "What will this happen here? What will happen?" So I used to deal with that. You know, I said, "Daddy, this will be the kitchen, this will be dining room, and all these sorts of things." No? So she always had this faith in me that whatever I'll do will happen or whatever in that way. No? So this other experience which you asked me, no, there was one thing, something I don't remember, but I was told what happened, no, for example. So where Global House, when it was built, Global House, no, which is now about 28 and a half years old. So I used to live in brother's house before the Global House. That brother's house still there, né? And I used to look everything from there and everything. So Daddy called me and she said, Balwan, come, né? And she said, now you come and stay in Global House, né? Which is upstairs. That time we didn't have Diamond House, yeah. That was later that time. So the big place was Global House, and everything used to begin to happen, surveys and different people. But she said guests used to come, everything. But he said, no, you come and look after. No? So we had the only accommodation was upstairs. That's it, one room. Yeah, it's like a small flat. That was meant for a caretaker flat, which can be the use for family caretaker. No? Because in UK, even when you go into the park, there's always a house in the park, and the caretaker's family lives in that house and looks after the activities. So I've been staying there for all these years, for many years, no? Since from beginning. And so I think it was about 5-6 years ago, that I was staying upstairs. One brother used to come and help me and many things, but he wasn't there that time. So I think it was about 4:45 in the morning. I fell in the bathroom, and I hurt my head. So I was unconscious, for example. Unconscious, and at that time, no one comes around, because it was 4:45 in the morning. Not student doesn't come, and no one. It's top of the uh, fifth floor. The flat was, no one comes down. So I laid unconscious there. No? So, but something happened in which I'm not aware, but people saw me. No, I was walking, but unconscious. Yeah, I didn't know where I was going or whatever, and this is what happened. So I went down the stairs from fifth floor to ground floor, but I don't know. I don't have any remembrance of falling. I don't have any remembrance of something happened. You see. So when I went down, Baba took me down actually. No, Baba took me down unconsciously down the stairs, and that's when the reception who was sitting that time, in those days we had a different timing, so she showed me, seen me wondering, and I was bleeding from my head, for example. And so she recognized that it was me, Balwan, and that's what happened. So that time instantly, then they called the ambulance, no? And I was unconscious actually. And they that time called the ambulance, and gentleman, and she came down, and she went with the ambulance and to the hospital, no? And they had to decide that time which hospital to take, and for what reason that what has happened to me, no? So then the doctors came, and they had to sign the letter of if anything happens, then they're not responsible, so and so. And but gentleman managed to sign that form and gave go ahead with what's going to happen. No? So the doctor said, I might survive, I might not survive. No, it was one of the things. No? So the news went everywhere in the world that I had fallen and that people can do yoga. So a gentleman used to send every day message to all the centers of my stage, in which condition I was in. So they did request. So people were doing yoga for me in Madhuban and then other centers and all this place. I didn't know. I wasn't aware of all these things happening, basically. No? So, two things happened while this was happening. I had to be operated. And then, if I survive, then I'll survive. If I won't survive, then I. So, it was to do with the brain. So, I had a crack in the skull, and that's repair wouldn't be possible unless it was operated. Now, for example, so when people went like this, and many things was happening, it was different. For example, so I went along with that, and then obviously different thing. And we heard the news that he was in Madhuban that time, and she said, "I will go for Balwan." Now she will come from India to London to see me. Yeah? Obviously, I didn't, I wouldn't have expected any of this, but that's what happened. So when she came to London, especially for me, she went straight to Global House, had a shower, and came straight to hospital. Hansa related this experience about what was happening. So she said that I was in coma that time. When she came to hospital, I've been in coma for 7 days, and doctors weren't sure what would happen. So Hansa said, Daddy came specially, stood next to you for about 40 minutes, and she gave drishti to you. for 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes finish, she put her hand on my head and gave me shakash or blessing, whatever way, through Baba. And the doctor saw a little bit of movement on my face, and he recognized that this wasn't going to happen, but it happened. So he came running. An unexpected thing, for example, now. So then after Daddy gave me this, was doing this, I was in coma for 7 days, and then my eyes little open my eyes, no? Which was a big surprise to all of them, no? Not knowing my life, and this was happening. So Daddy then came next day as well, no? And she saw this, how my eyes was opened up, and then she gave me drishti again, and the next day was better. So this doctor who was neurosurgeon, he came running to Hansa and asked Hansa who this lady was. No? Obviously, his name is Dr. Srinivas. He's now with Baba, and he used to look after Daddy when she used to come to London. No? So after that, drishti, I began to open up in different way, and then I used to think in a differently. I didn't used to recognize people at that time. I didn't had enough energy or faith in that way. I did see people, but not that way. So then people used to come and see me and talk to me and all this, but then it took a while to do this sort of thing, in that way. So it was very much different in that way. For example, I'll just take 1 minute pause. Hello? हाँ હું પછી ફોન કરું પાછો okay. So this is what happened, go to me, and then I slowly recovered slowly. I couldn't do anything for 6 to 8 months because I had to wear helmet. I had to wear helmet. Yeah. Can I take this phone? Okay. Hello?
Yes, please.
ના સુરેશભાઈ હું પછી ફોન કરું છું. ઓકે ઓકે. So I had to wear helmet for 6 months, and I wouldn't take it off because I might damage my head again if I bang into something. And then Daddy used to ask me, when are you going to take this off? So after 8 months, I had to go to hospital again. And in that particular one doctor who was obviously neurosurgeon, the other one was different. He was also neurosurgeon, and this one. And he called me and he said, Mr. Patel, this is what we're trying to do. And I said to him, who's going to do all this thing? Who's going to do all this? And he said, I am. And I said, are you sure you will be able to do this? I said, are you sure? And he said, yes, this is my profession. This is what I do. But I said, there is someone who can help you to do this. And what did I say to him? I said, there is one God who can help you to do better. And he looked at me and he laughed. And he said, yes, no problem. No problem. And I said, how God will help you? I said, he will help you with your hands. Because it's important, surgery is the hands. So he said, yes, okay, no problem. And then he was said, okay, I am happy that he can help me, for example. That's his profession. He's been doing that for many years, for example. And then he stitched me again. And then I have a metal plate on my right hand side, where I think. And that was the thing. And then afterwards, after 2-3 weeks, stitches were removed, and then I was beginning better, for example. my memory was coming back. I thought I lost everything, I forgot everything, but no. Yeah? And this took time, almost a year, for example, to recover properly, you know, in that way. So I had people who were helping me at that time, but this was not urgent, so it was like a miracle, for example, which I would not survive. But at the end, Baba did many things through different people, for example, which I see obviously Daddy was the main one, and other thing happened. This is just one story which I don't forget. Although I was not conscious at that time, but it's like how artists paint a picture. No? He has all the colors in his hands. He has all the artistic way of painting different things and that. And so Baba was the main one, was doing all these things. No? And children sometimes don't know. No? So Daddy always loved, had a lot of love from Daddy in particular way. No? Even many time I used to make a mistake. For example, mistake means not knowingly mistake, but sometimes not have the knowledge to do things, but that used to happen. And so that was important in that way. So I pulled through this one particular aspect. So whenever I meet this surgeon and whenever he still remembers me in that particular way, in that way. So Dadi was really the gem in everyone's life, because gem has a value, and your value only shines when you have these qualities. For example, value of gem, Baba say it doesn't disintegrate. Value of gem still stays. Doesn't matter if it's in sand, whether it's in soil, or whether it's in a jewel box, whatever. The value remains. This is the important thing. Our life, when we live with people like that, Daddy or someone else, we become valuable in this way. And this was one particular aspect in which, when Daddy used to share with us the being with Brahma Baba, stories of Brahma Baba, I said, what more do you want with the biggest jewel in the drama, for example, or things? And here we are sitting in front and listening, but never realize that the jewel we are listening to is also the same value that Baba used to share with them. No? So this was very big highlight that time in those days. No? For example. I mean, there's a lot of things. I can share many things. You just let me know 2 or 3 days in advance, and then it'll be very good in way. Many different things.
We'll call you again, Balwant Bhai, certainly.
Yeah, yes.
I understand the journey with Dadi of yours was very long.
Yes.
Over 40 years with somebody is like lifelong experience, lifetime experience.
It's true, I mean, it's because when you meet someone first time, and I was like, Daddy always looked at me as being a son, for example, different thing. And she didn't take anything away from me, but she always gave me. Even if I didn't have knowledge, she would always have faith. No, you can do this, for example. Nowadays you won't find many like that. But she stood out in that way, in something which Baba always did in them, in a different way. But we see that result in that way, different, in that way. Okay.
Great.
How are you all okay in Lagos?
Lagos, yes. Lagos
Everyone
is
is
not
okay?
affected with COVID that much, but yes, there are certain serious cases as well. But Baba is taking care. Baba's children are really enjoying this time also.
One other thing, I just share one thing. one of the things that Baba mentioned in one of the Bog message, that Baba said particularly that soul in the outside world, they don't have a fear, they don't have a future, they think they don't have what they have, all these things. But Baba said that this time, particular time now we're passing through, is for us children, not for us children. And why Baba said this particular time? Because if you don't use this particular time now to accumulate what you want for future, then when that other time comes a future, if you haven't accumulated, you won't be able to accumulate at that time. So anything that you have inside in which you need to make effort, this is the time. And at the same time, this is the time to serve other souls out there, because they are crying, no, they are suffering, or they want something which you can give, no one else can give, no, present time. So this was a big thing in our highlight at that time, no? And look how quickly 1 year went. No? 1 year went so quickly. And if you were to ask yourself, what have I accumulated in this one period, 1 year time? Forget 1 week, forget 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 year. No? Now, this time that's gone through, I will not be able to accumulate if with this time, because I have taken the thing away in that way, no? Differently. So this is something different I felt at that time. No? So pay attention to something. Baba has given many signals in many bold messages, not just now, but for many years ago. And this is the things that I am here with me. No? So all these things, how to keep in front of you and how to maintain it. No? Baba said in one more late, but not too late. Then Baba said, the board will come, then it will be too late. And then what do I do? Are you going to think about, I had all these years, I had all this time, but didn't do anything, for example? No? So it's a different thing than that. So in obviously, I came specially for Dadi Gulzar's funeral, myself and Jayanti went. But we passed through also in UK peak period of COVID. No? Many things were happening, many lockdown, many things. But at the same time, one of the things I paid attention to was yoga, no? Extra yoga, just to be and give sakash to the souls or help them in that way. From that was the important thing. No? And the souls are there, needs those things right now. And the only thing we can give at this time is this vibrations in the atmosphere, which souls feel. No? They feel this, that something is coming, no? In that way. So
Thank you, Balwant Bhai. Thank you so much for that wonderful and
okay, so it
heartfelt
was
sharing.
something. I was talking to your sister, na?
Geeta
Geeta.
Ven.
So I knew that this was, but then obviously not everything is remembered in that way, and so been able to correspond with her for my return journey to UK. But things are changing here in India. The virus is increasing in many states, and government have decided to cancel or less flight. And
Flights, yes.
so in that way, see what happened, because last time we stayed
Balwant Bhai, all our good wishes are with you. Your journey will be safe, accurate. Your flights will not be cancelled. And the time that you have to travel back, you have a special role to play. Either you are in Madhuban or in London, you have a very special role to play.
yes.
So all our
Okay.
cooperation is there with our thoughts
All
and
right.
feelings for you. So
Okay,
kindly give
thank you.
Drishti. So we'll take Drishti from Balwant Bhai. Everyone kindly open your videos. सभी अपना वीडियो खोले और बलवंत भाई से दृष्टि ले. भाई जी को हम पुनः आह्वान करेंगे।
Okay.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks to you. Thanks to Geeta Ben as well for proposing. Because yesterday my WhatsApp was
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Om Shanti.
ओम शांति सभी लेगोस परिवार को। फिर हम अव्यक्त मुरली के समय पे मिलेंगे।
Thank you.
4 बजे। थैंक यू भाई। ओम शांति।
Om Shanti.